Hey, welcome back. All right, so this is video 2 for the adding in the keys for our interactive doors. So what we did last time was we, talked about the project. We downloaded the model and the images that we're going to use, and then we set up the player blueprint to be able to acknowledge that the player has those keys. So we set up booleans for 3 keys, and then we created 3 blueprints for our keys, a gold key, a silver key, and a copper key. So let me jump in and show you real quick where we should be at. All right, so these are our keys, and they're all 3 in the scene now. Again, it was just a real simple blueprint. Don't forget that we needed to make sure we changed these as we updated them all, because we're using the same blueprint, just 3 different has copper key, gold key, and silver key in here that get populated. And then if I hit the play button, my player will appear over here in the outliner before I click in here. Or if you hit F8 to pop out of your player, you want to select the player 0 and then hit F8 again, select the player 0 again, hit details, and now we can see that we have all 3 keys over here. And if I click in the scene, I can pick up all 3 of those. Everything should work the way it's supposed to, and it's all populated. All right, great. Okay, now that we had our quick recap, let's go ahead and move on to the next thing, which is we need to set up our player HUD to be able to acknowledge that we have these keys that we've picked up so that the player can see which keys they have. Sort of like a little inventory system. So if we go into our drawer, into our content, remember that folder we created called UI? Inside there is our player HUD. And right now, we're going to add in where our key goes down over here. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to add in a text. So up here, if we type in text, and I'm just going to grab the text box, I'm going to drag it and drop it somewhere over here. And in this text box, I'm going to call it keys required. And I'm going to use the same color that I've been using. So if I click on the little white color there, I'm going to select the green for this one. So if I use the little eyedropper, I can select the same green I was using. And then down here for my font, it says Roboto. I'm going to change my font to my Ninja Penguin font. And then I'm going to change the scale for my font so it's a little bit bigger. Something like 80 for me. You're going to have to play around and find the scale that you want for yours. I'm going to adjust this box so it fits over it. Then I'm going to drag this up just a little bit. And I'm going to anchor that down here in the right-hand corner so that it stays on this side over here. Okay, now we've got our keys acquired title, but we're going to actually need to make our 3 little boxes down over here. Okay, so what we need now is we're going to make a size box. So I'm going to type in size in here, and it's going to come up with size box. I'm going to click and drag and drop it somewhere over here. And again, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to anchor it to the lower right-hand corner so I don't lose it. And for the position, you can kind of push this in and around so that we're going to end up with 3 boxes under here, and you can kind of lay them out so that they look fairly even. And when we get this all set up, we'll make sure all these numbers match. But for the X and the Y, so the Y is the up and down. I'm going to put this at 185, just kind of a, oops, that would be negative 185. There we go, negative 185. Just give me something nice and even to work with for my Y position so I can get them all at the same height here. Now the box itself is going to be 100 by 100. So we're going to change that default 40 to 100 so we get this nice square box right here. And we're going to do a width override of 100. And we're also going to do a height override of 100 so that they stay the same size for us. And I'm going to rename it from size box. I'm going to call this key 1. Okay, and you'll notice over here on the left-hand side, it says key 1. I'm going to compile, save what we have, and then underneath the key box, we're going to get an overlay. So I'm going to type in here and type in overlay. And I'm going to grab it and drop it down here on key box 1 so that it becomes a child, and it'll fill in automatically right there. For the overlay, with the overlay selected, we want to make sure that it's horizontal and vertical alignment are these two over here. So fill horizontally and fill vertically, so it fills up that direction there. Now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to get an image. So up here, I'm going to type in image, and I'm going to drag and drop this image and put it on the overlay so that it becomes a child of the overlay. Select the image, and we're going to fill vertically and horizontally, and now it should fill in place like that. And then the next thing we're going to want to do is we're going to change, we're going to hit to find the brush. So if we hit the down arrow for the brush, we're going to find our first image. And this one, I'm going to put the gold key right here. So I'm going to hit the down arrow, and I'm going to type in gold. It should come up green gold key, and that should fill in right there. And the little background should disappear, and now we should just have the image over the top of that. And the image size should be 1024 by 1024. It should be inherent. There should be no title. Okay, and then the next thing we're going to do is we are going to set the visibility of the key, because we don't want it to be visible. Yeah, we don't want it to be visible when it's not there. We want to be able to turn on visibility and turn off visibility. So we're going to change it to hidden. And then we're going to click the little chain over here. So we're going to bind it, and we're going to create a new binding. So get visibility 0 over here. We're going to give it a name, and we're going to call this get visibility, and we're going to call it gold key. Okay. Then I'm going to stretch these out just a little bit. Down here, I'm going to right click, and I'm going to say get player. So we're going to get our player again, just like before. We got it from our BPFL, so our blueprint function list. And I'm going to pull out from here, and this time we're going to get gold key. Just type in gold key. There we go, because it's called has gold key. So we're going to get has gold key. Right up here, I'm going to pull this out a little bit further. We're going to drag out. We're going to type in branch so that it will automatically put it in there for us. We're going to plug this in here. And if it's true, we're going to make it visible. If it's false, so I'm going to take this node, I'm going to Control D and duplicate it. We're going to change it from visible to hidden. So if this is false, we're going to hide it. Compile and save. Now let's go ahead and go back to our designer here, right up here at the top. One other thing I want to do is I want to add a text box in down here that says the name of this, just in case it's not easily visible or whatever model you're using. So we're going to also add in a text box. So right up here at the top, I'm going to type in text again. We're just going to go ahead and get a regular text. I'm going to drag it in, drop it on the overlay, and we're going to call this key text. Okay. And I just changed the image one to key text. That was real good. Let's try that again. All right. And then the key text, we're going to set it so that the visibility for it is, or for the location of it is centered. And then we want it at the bottom. We're going to use whatever font you're going to use. So mine is the Penguin font that I have, the Ninja Penguin font. I am going to change the font size to 30. 32 would probably be okay. For this one, I want it to say gold. And I'm going to use the same color that I've been using for the green. But you could also, if you wanted to make it gold, you could use gold or some other color, of course. So I'm going to click here, my little eyedropper, click on the green, and I'm going to make it so that it's gold. And now with the key text selected, we scroll down to visibility. We're going to set it as hidden. And then if I select the little chain here, we can pick the gold key visibility so it'll work off the same one that we've already created. I'm going to compile and save it. Let's go back into our sandbox. I'm going to hit play. Now, over in the right-hand corner, it should just say keys acquired. It shouldn't have the text box that we just made. I'm going to go pick up the gold key, and it should pop in down at the bottom down there. All right, so that's working. So let's go ahead and jump back into our HUD, and we're going to need to go ahead and make 2 more of these, right? So I'm going to select this first one right here that says key 1, and I'm going to hit Control D and duplicate it. Change the key 1 to key 2. I'm going to drag it and drop it up next to this one. And then remember we had set the vertical position for the overlay, for the key rather, at -185. So if I select key 2 and change my position Y to -185, it'll at least put it at the right height. And we can then get the right direction that we want in there. Now for the image, for this one, we want to change it to the silver key. So I'm going to type in silver. And purple silver key is my choice. And then for the text words, I'm going to change it from gold to silver. I'm going to compile and save that. Now we do need to change the has the right key, right? So I'm going to go ahead and go back down here with the key 2 selected. It's actually the image. And again, it's already set to hidden and it's already set to a binding, but we're going to change it. We're going to create a new binding for it. Now, we're in luck. This one is going to be easy to do. So first we're going to change the name though. We're going to name it Silver Key. We're going to jump back into the gold key one, and we can just duplicate everything we have in here. We don't need to duplicate that top node because we already have it in the new node that we're creating. So if we hit Control C to copy it, go back to the silver one, and then hit Control V to paste it in here. So we copied and pasted it in, and we can just connect this up. And we're going to need to change out this node right here. So we're going to type in has silver key. Plug that in, delete this one. And now we have the second one set up. Go back to our designer, make sure that we have everything set up the way we want it, and we should be good. Now we're going to go back to key 2. We're going to hit Control D to duplicate it, change it to key 3. We're going to drag it onto the scene here, kind of space it evenly, and then right up here, -185. We're going to change the text from silver to copper. We're going to change the image from silver key to copper, which should be the red copper key, I think. Red copper key. So now we have the image and the text all set up. The next thing we need to do is we're going to need to change the binding for it, right? So we're going to select image, scroll down, right here where it says visibility hidden. We're going to hit the little chain again, create binding. We're going to change the name to copper. We're going to hit Control V because we should be able to still paste what we have. Connect everything up. And this one, instead of has the gold key again, we're going to change it to has copper key. Get has copper key. We're going to plug that in. Delete this one. Compile, save. Go back to the designer. Just double check, make sure everything looks right. So let's go back into our sandbox. Let's hit play. Now, if we pick up each of the keys, gold works, copper works, and the silver works, except the text isn't showing up. And that's because we go back into the HUD, didn't change the binding for each of the texts on these, right? So down here, we're going to select that, and we're going to change the silver to get visibility for silver. And then we're going to change the copper one for get visibility for copper. We're going to compile, save, and try it one more time. Copper, silver, and gold. Okay, so that's it for this tutorial. Hopefully you were able to follow along okay, and I didn't confuse you too much. In the next tutorial, we're going to go ahead and get it set up so that we have a door that is now requires a key, and everything should work with it since we have our key, the ability to pick up our keys and acknowledge that we have the keys. So if you have any questions, please put them down below in the comments section. Don't forget to like this tutorial for me and subscribe. I will see you next time, and thanks for playing.